disclaimer opinion එකකට යනවනම් disclaimer කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? අපිට reject කරන opinion එක දෙන්න because of serious scope limitation. අපි appoint කරන engagement letter එකෙන් but we don't have kind of a independence to get access to the adequate audit evidence. If it is so, we are going to reject to issue the audit opinion, but we are issuing opinion by rejecting that. So then is a kind of a pervasiveness, pervasive scope limitation, right? එතකොට අපි මේ කතා කරපු whatever the opinions, whatever the modifications අපිට chart එකක් විදියට ගත්තොත් here we can discuss here, right? 1 2 3 4. So we have 4 areas, right? 4 areas, and as I discussed previously, once we are concluding audit audit report, after completing audit procedures, as I said, we may ended with material misstatements, right? Material misstatements, and then scope limitations, unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. This is uncorrected misstatements and this is scope limitations. Misstatements තියෙනවා අපිට කරගන්න බැරි වුණු අපිට තියෙන challenges, scope limitation තියෙනවා. ඒක අපි බලනවා මොකක්ද? ඒක material but not pervasive. Material but not pervasive. Material mean that will impact to the financial statement user. That will impact to the financial statement user. Because of that we need to mention that, but not impact pervasively, because it's not impact to each and every balances. Overall financial statement mislead වෙන්න බලපාන්නේ නැහැ. Pervasiveness වෙන්නේ නැහැ. එහෙමනම් අපි මොකද කියන්නේ? We are issuing a qualified opinion. Qualified mean we are issuing a qualified opinion. ඒ area එක විතරක් ඒ area එක හැර අපි clean opinion එකක් issue කරනවා. අපිට තියෙන ප්‍රශ්නේ statement එකක් තියෙනවා NRV calculation එකේ NRV balance එක ඇරෙන්න අපේ අනිත් balances okay කියලා අපි issue කරනවා. හැබැයි අපේ scope limitation එකක් තියෙනවා. අපිට land එකක් purchase කරලා deed එක provide කරලා නැහැ. අපිට inventory verification එකට ගිහිල්ලා inventory section එකේ half of the inventory අපිට check කරන්න හම්බුන්නේ නැහැ. එහෙමනම් අපි මොකද කරන්නේ? Material significant but not pervasive. That's based on your judgment. That based on your evaluation, right? එතකොට ඒක බලලා if it is only material not pervasive, you need to issue the qualified opinion. So then whatever the misstatement, material and pervasive, it's material plus pervasive, it will impact to the different balances. So then adverse opinion. ඔයාගේ general ledger එකට issue එකක් තියෙනවා. System එක randomly duplicate වෙනවා entries. Randomly duplicate වෙනවා entries. ඔයාගේ revenue balance එක, PP&E balance එක, ගොඩාක් balances impact වෙනවා. company එක bogus transactions, premature revenue recognize කරන් තියෙනවා. target driven company එකක් ගොඩාක් bogus transaction කරලා තියෙනවා. එතකොට අපේ revenue එක misstate වෙලා තියෙනවා. cash mislead වෙලා තියෙනවා නම් ඊට පස්සේ debtor balance එක mislead වෙලා provision හරියට දාලා නැහැ. ගොඩක් misstatement trigger වෙනවා. එතකොට අපේ balance sheet එක P&L එකේ many balances may be getting impacted. Because of that we can say that it's pervasive. So then we are giving adverse opinion. We are telling that financial statements are not giving true and fair view, right? Adverse opinion. කෙලින්ම අපි කියනවා මේක misstated කියලා. අපි මෙතන මොකද්ද? disclaimer opinion. අපේ තියෙන scope limitation එක හැම පැත්තටම තියෙනවා. අපිට inventory count එකට යන්න දුන්නේ නැහැ. අපිට data sample එක දුන්නේ නැහැ. අපිට basically board minutes වලට access නැහැ. So then අපි ගත්තොත් inventory then land valuation එකක් කරලා නැහැ, land වල deed අපිට හම්බෙලා නැහැ. හැම balance එකේම අපිට තියෙනවා limitation එකක්. So then that will impact to the financial statement pervasively. So then we are going to disclaim, we are rejecting to issue the audit opinion. එතකොට අපිට adverse එකක් දෙන්න පුළුවන්ද? ඒ කියන්නේ true නෑ කියලා දෙන්න පුළුවන් බෑ. අපිට audit evidence perform කරන්න ground එකක් opportunity එකක් නැතුව අපිට adverse කියලා කියන්න බෑ. අපි කියනවා දැන් adverse opinion එකක් දෙන්න නම් හොඳ evidence තියෙන්න ඕන. මොකද අපිට management එකත් against in adverse opinion එකක් දෙනකොට. එතකොට අපි sufficient and appropriate audit evidence properly gather කරලා තියෙන්න ඕන adverse opinion එකක් දෙන්න. හැබැයි disclaimer කියලා කියන්නේ disclaimer කරන්න ground එකක් තියෙන්න ඕන. අපි management එක reject කරපු විදිය, management එක අපි mail කරලා තියෙනවා, communicate කරලා තියෙනවා, audit committee කියලා තියෙනවා. Those charged with the governance we have done the proper communication with those charged with the governance. So then we should have proper evidence to show that. Otherwise we have already signed the LOE to issue a audit opinion. But now onwards we are disclaiming. Why? Because of this scope limitation. එතකොට අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන් අපි LOE එකේ opinion එක දෙන්න agree උනේ මෙන්න මේවට access දෙන්නොත්. එතකොට අපි LOE එකේම කියනවා if we are having kind of serious scope limitation, we have a ground to disclaim the opinion. So then we have opportunity, we have a right to issue a disclaim opinion, right? එතකොට disclaim opinion එකක්, adverse opinion එකක්, qualified opinion එකක් issue වුණාම that will very sensitive to your stakeholders. ඔයාගේ listed company එකක් නම් සමහර විට share prices අඩු වෙන්න impact වෙන්න පුළුවන්, watch list එකකට වැටෙන්න පුළුවන්, ඊට පස්සේ ඒකට ගන්න action ඔයාට management එක විදියට report කරන්න වෙන්න පුළුවන්. There may be different repercussions. ඔයා loans අරගෙන තියෙනවා නම් bank එක ඔයා follow up කරන්න පුළුවන්, especially regulator. If it is an insurance company, bank or regulated industry, regulator full focus කරලා separate work plan එකක් දෙන්න වෙන්න පුළුවන්. So then after having modified opinion, definitely there will be a kind of a challenging situation to the management because it's very sensitive, right? So then that's all about related modification. එතකොට අපේ ප්‍රශ්නයක් ඇහුවොත් adverse opinion එකයි disclaim opinion එක අතර difference එක මොකක්ද කියලා. adverse opinion එකේදී අපි කෙලින්ම කියනවා it's not true කියලා. it's containing material misstatement කියලා කියනවා. හැබැයි disclaim opinion එකේ කෙලින්ම reject කරනවා. දෙකේදීම pervasiveness එක තියෙන්න ඕන. significant plus pervasive. ඒ දෙකේ material විතරක් නම් pervasive නැත්තම් scenario දෙකේදීම අපිට qualified කරන්න පුළුවන්. So then question ඇහුවොත් examiner ඇහුවොත් අපිට qualified opinion දෙන්න පුළුවන් scenario දෙකක් කියන්න කියලා. So then අපි මොකද කියන්නේ? අපි මෙතන කතා කරා. මොනවද scenario දෙක? The misstatement only material not pervasive. Scope limitation unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Scope limitation material not pervasive. Whatever those two scenarios, we are giving what? We are giving qualified opinion. So that's all about audit modification, right? Audit opinion modification. If we go to audit opinions, you can see qualified opinion, right? So the once you are giving qualified opinion, you have to mention the basis for audit qualification, right? Relevant basis should be disclosed. So then you can go through this related disclosures. You can refer the auditing standard 705 as well as the study guide. If it is disclaim opinion, you can see, right? Consolidated financial statement. Here we are clearly saying we are not we are not ready to issue the audit opinion. See, we have not been able to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence to issue the audit opinion. This is really important. We have not been able to. This is pervasive. Based on the pervasiveness, we are giving the disclaimer opinion. And if you come to basically adverse opinion, opinion section, our report, the company financial statement do not present fairly. Do not present fairly. That's important, right? So likewise, you can go to your study guides and annual reports. You can go through the practical examples and you can read through the basis for adverse opinion. You can clearly mention what are the areas you are getting impact, the relevant basis for this opinion. Adverse opinion or whatever the disclaimer opinion, what's the reason for disclaiming the opinion? May areas වලට අපිට access තිබුණ නැහැ කියන එක you have to clearly mention, right? So then we can go to the slide deck again. Further, අපි එතකොට opinion එක ගැන opinion එකේ opinion para එක ගැන in detail කතා කරා, key audit matters ගැන කතා කරා. ඊට පස්සේ opinion එකේ තියෙන other critical area එකක් තමයි other information කියන්නේ. Other information මොනවද මේ other information කියන්නේ? Other information ගැන අපි worry වෙන්න ඕනද auditor කෙනෙක් විදියට? ඒක relevant ද? මොනවද other information කියන එක ගොඩක් important, right? අපි other information වල deviation තිබුණොත් what are the things we need to highlight? What are the concerns we are having as a auditor? So then that's really important to discuss, right? එතකොට මොනවද other information කියලා කියන්නේ? So then in a annual report, you know that we have different sections, right? It may be governance sections, financial summary, 10-year summary, director statements, and relevant awards, and then annual financial highlights. All those things you can see, right? If you go to this annual report, before the financial statements, you can see different sections, right? Different sections are there. Here we have that different sections. See, they are using different names, right? Governance framework, management commentary, and then report profile and overview, and then strategic direction, further supplementary information, financial information. මෙතන තමයි අපේ audit report එකයි මේ සේරම තියෙන්නේ, right? එතකොට මේ other information මේ set එක අපි financial statement එක තමයි යන්නේ. එතකොට financial statements වල තියෙන information, financial මේ තියෙන independent auditor report. එතකොට මේ auditor report එක responsible වෙන්නේ cover වෙන්නේ financial statement element විතරයි. එතකොට අපි audit කරේ මොනවද? Statement of financial position, income statement, cash flow, equity statement, basically account balance, disclosures and transactions. We didn't audit all these things, right? Presentation aspects. So then what we have to do is අපි මේ other information කියලා කියන්නේ මේ අනිත් information. එතකොට එක bulk එකක් විදිහට තමයි stakeholder ට යන්නේ. එතකොට auditor විදිහට we need to ensure that the consistency එක අපි check කරන්න ඕන. එක check කරන්න ඕන කියලා අපේ auditing standard එක other information check කරන්න කියන audit standard එක 720 standard එකේ කියන auditor other information review කළා. එක audit opinion එකේ mention කරන්න ඕන. එතකොට consistency එක check කරන්න ඕන. අපි audit opinion එකෙන් cover වෙන්නේ නැහැ. හැබැයි consistency එක check කරලා අපි ඒක audit opinion එකේ mention කරන්න ඕන කියලා clearly කියනවා. එතකොට අපි මොකද බලන්නේ? මෙතන financial statements වල disclose කරලා තියෙන දේවල් further disclose කරලා තියෙන හිතන්න profitability එක, financial position එක, liability balance එක, gross margin එක අපි director statement එකේදී කියන gross margin එකට tally වෙන්න ඕන. එතකොට director statement එකේ අපේ profit statement එකේ gross margin එක 30%, director statement එකේ CEO ගේ statement එකේ කියනවා අපි 45 gross margin එකක් earn කරා කියලා. So then there's a contradiction, right? You have to inform that and it should be corrected by the management. If there is a different argument from the management, that should be justified, right? And then if they are refusing that, you need to highlight that in your it's kind of a modification for your audit report, right? So then you have to take action accordingly. And then once you are coming to this audit other information, not only the balances disclosed in the financial statement, එතකොට disclose එකක් balance එකක් විතරක් නෙමෙයි. According to your understanding, once you are collecting audit evidence, you know that the trial balance and whatever the other information. එතකොට ඔයා salary verify කරනකොට ඔයා දන්නවා company එකේ employees ලා 1500 හිටියා කියලා. ඔයාගේ financial analysis එකේදී company structure එකේදී කියනවා company එකේ employees ලා more than 2000 ඉන්නවා කියනවා. එතකොට ඔයා salary process එක දන්නා විදියට 1500 employees ඉන්න තැන 2000 ඉන්නවා කියලා කිව්වොත් you have to question, you have to cross check with your understanding and correct it and inform to the management, and basically the financial statement and the whatever the other information should show kind of a consistency, comparability should be there. Otherwise your audit report, your audited financial statements may be challenged, right? Because of that there is a requirement to go through, review other information as a auditor, right? So then the other information examples I have mentioned here. So then as I go through annual report, it may be financial ratios, capital expenditure related details, corporate governance, right? So then what then audit opinion එක issue කරලා එතකොට මේ audit other information check කරන්න යනකොට මොන හරි serious difference එකක් gap එකක් identify වෙනවා. Identify වුණාම ඔයා මොකද්ද කරන්න ඕන? Auditor shall communicate this, right? Auditor shall communicate this matter to those charged with the governance. අපි clearly management එකට කියන්න ඕන. Management එකට කියලා එයා එක as I said, if they are refusing, if they are agree to correct that, that's okay, right? අපි එයා එක refuse කරනවා නම් ඔයාට audit opinion එකේ impact එක ඔයා decide කරන්න ඕන. Whether it's based on the materiality and the pervasiveness, right? And then if it is so much serious, you can withdraw from the audit engagement. So then that should be permitted, right? Legally permitted. And once you are dealing with other information, basically before audit report issued, other information, එතකොට annual report එකේ first reading එක, first cut එක auditor ට හම්බ වෙන්න ඕන proof verification එකට. එතකොට අපි auditors ලා විදියට practical scenario එක අපි printers ලගේ location එකට යන්න වෙන්න පුළුවන්, overnight වැඩ කරන්න වෙන්න පුළුවන්. annual report printing යන දවස් වෙනකොට ලොකු rush එකක් තියෙනවා practically. එතකොට අපි first proof එක එනවා, correction කරලා management එකට check කරලා correction suggest කරලා යවනවා. ඒක correct වුණාද කියලා ආයෙත් බලනවා. So likewise auditor may be really busy with the management at the point of printing annual report, right? Basically it should be received before the audit report date, right? And other thing is your other information section should be placed after the key audit matter paragraph. That's important. So then we have already discussed key audit matter paragraph, that should be placed after the key audit matter paragraph. So that's all about other information section. So then you can read through 720. This is the auditing standard. You can further read this, and further you can go to a annual report. Key audit matters mention කරලා තියෙන audit report එකේ key audit matters වලට පහලින් clearly other information paragraph එක mention වෙනවා. other information para එකේ අපේ auditor ගේ responsibility එක clearly mention වෙලා තියෙනවා. So then as I said, that's all about financial statement and the knowledge obtained about the company. So then that should be evaluated with the other information. එතකොට ඒක තමයි requirement එක. So then the practically you can go through a annual report and you can verify that, you can understand that there are situations need to handle very carefully. This will be very sensitive to the stakeholders. එතකොට management එක මෙතන මොනවා හරි discrepancy එකක් තියෙනවා නම් අපිට ඒක clearly mention කරන්න පුළුවන්. මෙතන කියනවා government related aspect එකක් නිසා parliament act එකේ අනුව ඒක මොනවා හරි deviation තියෙනවා නම් parliament එකට present කරනවා කියලා. So then in normal company මේ para එක ටිකක් වෙනස් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. So then you can go to a annual report of a other listed company, you can check that, right? So then those are the basic things you need to consider about other information, right? So then basically those are the key concern areas about audit opinion itself. We discuss about key elements of the audit opinion, basically overall financial statement, accessions, related console adjustment, liabilities, and then this related revenue recognition, all those aspects responsible by the management to establish a proper control framework and preparing financial statement correctly and presenting, right? So that's with the management responsibility, but auditor responsibility to perform adequate audit evidence to address the assess audit risk to acceptable low level and give the opinion. That's auditor's responsibility, that will be mentioned in the audit opinion, right? And then once you are finishing these steps, once you are issuing your audit opinion, basically you need to get the management representation. So then that's a basic requirement of audit aspect, getting the written representation, right? So then අපිට mention කරන්න පුළුවන් at the planning stage, initial stage, LOE is a critical document, right? At the conclusion stage, LOR, letter of representation, is a very crucial document. As auditor we need to get that, right? So basically audit report date should be equal to the LOR date, right? So then here we can include, you know, post the events reported after the reporting date. So then all the adjusting events already adjusted, right? Whatever the contingent liability, contingent assets we have adequately disclosed, whatever the tax related matters we have already addressed and we have provided, the estimates was done correctly. If there are any deferred tax related asset, we have evaluated the recoverability. So then all those things, specific things can be included to the representation. If management, you know, doesn't provide, so then if they are rejecting to provide that, you have to take, you have to do kind of a communication to the audit committee and request that if there are any difficulty to get it done, so then that may be a judgmental call whether you are going to do kind of an impact to your audit report or legally can you get any action. So it's a critical audit evidence, you have a right to request that accordingly you have to respond that. එතකොට LOR එක කියන්නේ critical audit evidence එකක්, right? Specific areas mention කරලා ගන්න ඕන. අපිට 580 standard auditing standard එකේ clearly mention වෙනවා areas. ඔයාට 580 standard එක go through කරලා ඒ contents study කරන්නත් පුළුවන්. So the written representation is a crucial document. As auditor we need to collect it at the final stage of a audit. එතකොට final stage එකේ auditor කෙනෙක් ගන්න critical document එකක් මොකක්ද කියලා ඇහුවොත් අපිට කියන්න වෙනවා LOR එක, written representation එක. ඊට පස්සේ අපේ at the reporting stage, conclusion stage, අපේ key audit outcomes, key deliverables, key documentation aspects මොනවද කියලා ඇහුවොත් අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන්, you know that opinion itself, we have already discussed that, right? Opinion like elements, CAM, audit opinion, other information we have clearly discussed. And summary of audit differences. What do you mean by that? As we discuss, whatever the audit differences and scope limitations, maybe misstatements, statement and scope limitations. So then those things, uncorrected misstatement and scope limitation, should be summarized and we need to have kind of a summary listing, and the final balance impact, it may be debit entry, credit entry, debit credit. So the you need to see that set off, right? ඔයාගේ එක expense එකක් වැඩි වෙනවා, තව expense එකක් අඩු වෙනවා නම් misstatement එකක් නිසා final impact එක අඩු වෙන්න පුළුවන්, right? So then you need to evaluate the final impact, and accordingly summary of audit differences, ඒ differences වල collective impact එක ඔයාගේ PM එක planning material level එකත් එක්ක cross check කරලා තමයි ඔයා significant ද pervasive ද කියලා අපි කලින් evaluate කරලා audit opinion එක දෙන්න. එතකොට ඔයා මෙතනදී significant ද pervasive ද material ද pervasive ද කියලා qualified adverse disclaimer opinion දෙන්න plan කරනකොට ඔයා හදන key document එක තමයි summary of audit differences කියලා කියන්නේ, right? Summary of audit differences කියලා කියන්නේ. ඒකේ summary එක හදලා final balance එක අරගෙන තමයි ඔයා decide කරන්නේ whether you are going to qualified, you are issuing adverse opinion, if you want to issue that clean opinion or not, you can decide based on that. එතකොට අපි කියනවා මේ issue එක අපිට summary of audit difference එකට දාලා මේක conclude කරන්න පුළුවන්. අපිට limit එකක් තියෙනවා, right? ඔයාගේ TE එක tolerable error, the error limit you can tolerate, up until this limit you can keep that in the SAD document, summary of audit difference. එක summary of audit difference එකක් විදියට තියාගන්න පුළුවන්. It will not impact to the opinion, right? So then this is the transaction level. So then opinion itself is the overall financial statement level. So then that we won't be impacted to the opinion. So then this is the limit. This is the limit we need to consider, right? So then if there are any summary of differences, we need to communicate to the Josh charge with the governance in the audit result, right? Basically in the letter of representation there should be a kind of a annexure to the letter of representation about whatever the communicated summary of audit differences, right? And then audit result report, that's important. If you are having a kind of a listed company or whatever the regulated company, you have to present whatever the audit results to the top management, audit committee and board of directors, right? And then audit summary memorandum or audit conclusion document, right? Basically what is that? you have that audit planning memorandum, audit plan. So then audit summary. So then whatever the plan document, plan procedures, plan risk should be addressed in the execution and should be concluded. Basically, finally what you have to do is you have to compare with the audit planning document and the audit conclusion document. So then at that point you have to ensure that whatever the plan audit procedures you have to done and you have concluded. If there are any findings, you need to address in the audit opinion. So that's the way you have to follow, right? And further, management letter. So then according to 260, the communication with those charged with the governance, as auditor we need to communicate what are the control deficiencies, all improvements, summary of audit differences to the management, right? We can send a kind of a letter to the management. Some of the industries, insurance industry, banking and finance industry, that management letter should be submitted to the regulator as well, right? It's a very sensitive document, document containing sensitive information, right? And management letter, whatever the content, should be in line with your audit report. Can audit report එකේ තියෙන දෙයකට contradict වෙන දෙයක් management letter එකේ තියෙන්න බෑ. එතකොට audit report එකේ clean opinion එකක් දීලා තියෙනවා. So then there are pervasive significant material misstatement in the management letter may be challenge your audit report. So then all those things should be documented properly. That should be in your audit file, current year audit file. This conclusion document should be there. So then basically in documentation aspect we are going to discuss under section 11. So then you can go in detail about current year audit file and permanent audit file. So then this element can be discussed. එතෙන්දී අපි මේ documentation කියන aspect එකේ importance එක discuss කරනවා. එතකොට conclusion stage එකේ documents කියන එකත් really important, right? So then altogether we discuss about content of a audit report and what are the types of audit opinion, key audit matters, other information, and basically how we can approach through a audit conclusion stage. I hope that you are very clear about audit reporting. We completed audit planning, audit then execution and then audit reporting. අපි audit report එක issue කරන්න plan කරා, අපි execute කරා, audit procedures කරා, audit opinion එක issue කරා. So then now you done with the audit process. So then hope you are very clear about this process and you can add some of the practical aspect. You can talk to your some of the friends, some of the experts in the industry, and you can get further clarification about this aspect. So then it will help you to improve your knowledge as well as you can easily face to the exam.